The Competition Tribunal is hearing exception applications by pathology laboratory companies. The companies include Ampath, Pathcare and Lancet, which are accused of overpricing COVID-19 PCR tests. The case has been brought by some medical aid schemes and the Health Funders Association. Almost 2 years ago, the three laboratories reduced the prices of the COVID tests following an agreement with the Competition Commission. Joining us now is Dr. Aslam Dasoo from the Progressive Health Forum. Dr. Dasoo, thanks very much for your time. Perhaps before we get to the specifics, just broadly, what are the implications of this matter? How does it affect the normal person who for one reason or the other has to undergo the test that your Lancets have to do?
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon to you and to your viewers. This, at its basic level, is a commercial dispute between medical schemes and the pathology groups regarding the PCR test for COVID. You may or may not recall, but during the pandemic, there was a huge need, of course, for testing. And the tests that were done by the private laboratories, which are the ones that are in the case right now, was set at a price. I believe it was around 850 Rand a test. And it was based on a normal price for the test that would have been in place even before COVID. Now, during COVID, because the manufacturers of the test were able to reduce the cost of the test, the price of the test, was expected to come down, and it didn't. And this was taken up by the Council for Medical Schemes because medical scheme members and medical schemes were being charged the normal amount. It was first taken up with the pathology groups and then taken to the Competition Tribunal. And all of the parties were able to reach a settlement, and the price of the test was reduced to 500 Rand. And that was, settled by the Competition Commission. It seems now that certain medical schemes under the Health Funders Association, as compared to the Board of Healthcare Funders, so this is another group, have approached the tribunal, presumably to set that settlement aside, basically saying that even though the 500 Rand lower price was below cost recovery for the pathology groups, which they accepted, for the labs, which they accepted, there was profit made beforehand. And it's that profit that they want repatriated to the medical schemes. Now, that's as far as I know all I know about it. And in fact, the tribunal will be doing the hearings now, and we'll see what the tribunal has to say. And of course, either of the parties will be at liberty to take it on review if they're not satisfied with the outcome. But again, it is a commercial issue. And, in the broad scheme of things, if I may say so, without denigrating the parties, a bit of a storm in a teacup, given the amounts involved and the issue that is at play. That's as much as I think people need to be concerned with it.
So it's only about the PR tests and money that was made or that these laboratories profited from during COVID.
Yes, that seems to be the case. Now, obviously, the higher price was, it didn't reflect the lower input costs that the manufacturers, the international manufacturers of the test, had reduced their prices by. And that was the complaint, that you should reduce your price now because everybody needs this test, and it's a huge cost to schemes. And that was taken to the Competition Commission because the pathology groups, being commercial entities, could not discuss price together. And I believe that the Department of Trade and Industry and the Ministry of Health both agreed to give the parties an exemption so they could sit down and negotiate the new price together. And that was done. Competition Commission was satisfied with that. And the new price was 500 Rand. And because that was an under recovery, the pathologists felt that, okay, so whatever we might have made before, it's fair. It all comes out in the wash. And I think that was accepted by all those parties. It seems that these schemes do not accept that. And they believe that they profited at the higher price for far too long or for far too much. And they'll have to prove that, of course. And that they want all of those profits returned to the medical schemes. And, it's not been an issue up until now, but, parties have the right. It's a country of laws that we have, and parties have the right to use the law to get satisfaction on any grievance that they have.
Do we know if there's been disquiet around other services? I'm talking about your blood tests and the like, or so far it has only been around the PCR tests during COVID and nothing beyond that?
To the best of my knowledge, it's only about the PCR test, though please don't hold me to that, but that's my knowledge. But in fact, the rest of the testing, there was never any dispute about. They did, every patient would have had a battery of tests done, blood tests and so on. And it doesn't seem that those were ever in dispute. Those are well known and the pricing is well known and accepted. So I don't think that really was an issue.
You don't think someone may wake up after this, say, the Health Funders Association and these 36 medical schemes win? And then someone, what are the chances of someone saying, actually, you've been robbing us blind for quite some time. Let's look at these other tests that you have a monopoly over.
Sure, they can try that. I don't think they'll get much satisfaction because those prices are well known, and the medical schemes do enter into negotiation with service providers like the laboratory groups, like the radiologists, and prices are transparently discussed and negotiated, and it's agreed to. So once it's been agreed to come back and say, well, that was the wrong price, one would have to prove that, in fact, a vendor or a provider had deliberately misled the market or the scheme. And that's a hard ask, because you can extend that to almost every sector of the economy then. So I don't think that that's in the offing. I think this matter, it may open up others saying, but wait a minute, there might be other things here and there might be things there, but that they'll take at their risk if they want to take it further. I think what is important is that in the broad scheme of things, this is not a big issue. The broad scheme of things are far more serious. The state has a laboratory service called the National Health Laboratory Service. The state also provided PCR testing, of course, it did. But actually, you can't determine the exact cost of that. And in fact, our assessment is that the cost is probably a lot higher, given the way the state provides its services per test. Now, that's a function of healthcare funding and the way the health system is organized. And we have been really frustrated that over the last 15 to 20 years, while we fiddled around with this NHI thing, which is incapable of being implemented despite it now being an act, the public service in particular has gone into steep decline, endangering the entitlement to access to all necessary care that is constitutionally guaranteed. And you have to understand that 80 to 90% of the population is reliant on the public health system as a system of first and ultimate resort. And that is the system that is so beleaguered through the provincial health departments, poor management of them, that they are a shadow of what they used to be, and really a loss to the national heritage of the country. Now you have to fix that. So that would be a bigger concern. And unfortunately, the NHI Act is now mired in the courts. There's 3 lawsuits and many more to follow. And if and when it is ever implementable, that will take another 20 years. There will not be a public health service standing in that time. And we have prepared now to offer the president a whole proper healthcare reform package that we will make public shortly as well.
I have no doubt, Dr. Dasoo, that these are the issues we will be talking about and debating over the next few weeks, months, and years even. Dr. Aslam Dasoo from the Progressive Health Forum, who reckons, of course, this whole thing that is before the Competition Tribunal is a storm in a teacup.